Basically, the idea of a backdrop has always been to create the illusion that you are somewhere that you're not, whether it be somewhere that's very fanciful, so somewhere you really can't get to, or if it's just to make it more convenient to shoot in the studio than it is outside. Because if you're in a studio, obviously you have control over lighting and you have crowd control and all of those things. So backdrops are a standard industry approach to giving the cameraman more control. Hi, I'm Phil Greenstreet from Rosco. I'm here in beautiful downtown Los Angeles with all of you. But of course we're not. We're all on a sound stage in Europe. We have cameras here, we have a monitor for you to see what's going on, and some cinematography students, which is you guys. Backdrops have been around for almost as long as there has been theatre. Even the Greeks in their theatres had some form of scenery, some form of backdrops. When the film industry came along, obviously that was the same technique that they adopted. They took on scenic painters from the theatre. The first big change that came was when they transitioned from using hand-painted backdrops to a photographic process called a Translight, which was basically a big black and white slide. And then the next jump was around the early 80s when these became color. Within 10 years, the industry had very much moved in the direction of computer printing on vinyl. And basically vinyl became the standard printing base for the next 20 years. One of the things that we used to do was print a day scene on the front of a piece of vinyl and then have scenics black out the back strategically to create a mask so that when you backlit the same piece of vinyl, you'd actually get a night scene, so you could front light for day, backlight for night. So now I'd like to introduce one of my colleagues, Sarah Horton. She's our photographer based in Berlin, covering all of Europe. She's also a former international feature film art director, and I think you'll be interested in what she's got to say.
Hi, Phil.
Hi.
So we've got a couple of samples of SoftDrop that we're going to show you now. I think Phil's got some that he's going to hand along, so you can get an idea of how it feels, how it looks. You can see that it's totally matte, and it's a very lightweight material. And I've got here a sample of the earlier generation of backdrops, which was printed on vinyl. And you can see here how much of a shine there is that's actually coming off the surface here. And this was one of the reasons why Rosco changed its printing technology to SoftDrop. And you can feel it's a much thicker material. So this actually means you need a lot more light when you're backlighting it, whereas the SoftDrop needs a lot less light to achieve the same effect. So this also actually saves money for the production if you use a SoftDrop, because you don't need to rent as many lights as you would for a vinyl.
What the original vinyl day-nights added was the ability to transition smoothly from day into night. I mean, we talk about day-night backdrops, but really it's a 24-hour backdrop, because by varying the color temperature of the light, the direction of light spilling onto the stage, you can create the illusion that you're pretty much anywhere within a 24-hour cycle. Film crews are really good at coming up with a list of complaints. They would say that the vinyl was too shiny, the vinyl was too heavy, the vinyl is too stinky, pretty much anything you could think of. The sound guy would complain that it reflected sound back at them. So we started looking for a new way to do it. But cotton has some serious advantages. It's lightweight, it's a natural fiber, and it has a very matte surface. So for a cinematographer, it makes it a lot easier to get a good picture without any spurious reflections in the surface. But of course, one of the big things that we do is still the day-night effect. So it was important for us that the day-night effect still work. So that's what we built into this drop. You can come up with a variety of lighting looks of different times of day just by adjusting the light levels front and back and changing the color temperature. So if you want something that's early evening, sunset look, a little bit more red, by then, of course, some of the lights will be coming on in the building, so we want to maybe bring up the lights in some of the sections so that it looks like some people are still at work, some people have already gone home. One of the effects I like to do is have the backlights full on and then dim out the front light, because the effect that you get is the brightest windows seem to be lit first, and then as you dim down the front, more windows seem to be appearing in the background. Okay, so now seems like a good time for us to take a quick look at the lighting setup here. We'll have a look at that. As you can see, we're front lighting it using the DMG mix lights, shining down from the top. Daylight is a top-down phenomenon, which means that the sky is bright, it shines down on the ground. So that's kind of what we're trying to emulate with this setup. Coming around to the back, the opposite is true. Most night light comes, in a city at least, from the ground up. So again, that's what we're doing here. We've got a nice even wash of light going up the drop from the ground. It's possible to do a lot more artistic things with the lighting, but we'll be covering those in the next segment. So that's it for today. Thanks for coming. Next time we're going to be talking about the actual production process for the drops, and I hope you'll be interested in that as well. Thanks.
Looking forward to seeing you. Bye.